You're listening to the Brilliant Breakthroughs Podcast, episode number 32, with Maggie and Stacy.
Hi, small business owners. Welcome to Brilliant Breakthroughs Podcast, where we focus on creating brilliant breakthroughs for the small business owner. FYI, this is also the name of a #1 Amazon bestselling book for small businesses. And if you're in entrepreneurship, you'll appreciate it too. The good news is you can find this book in paperback form as well as ebook. Oh, let me try that again, as well as ebook form too. Just so you know which one it is on Amazon, it's Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner, Fresh Perspectives on Profitability, People, Productivity, and Finding Peace in Your Business. I want to say hello, rock stars of small business. My name is Maggie Mongan, and I am the anthology leader, fancy name for the one who decided to get a team together and be the leader of writing a book. And we're talking about this great book that I just mentioned earlier. And today we're honored to have Stacy Kaat, a #1 best-selling author, with us to talk about your business's people relationships and the performance that you have, really based on your headshot to attract the right customers. So welcome, Stacy.
Hi, Maggie. Thank you for having me today. This will be a fun conversation.
Wow, you sound a little quiet. I might ask you to pipe up just a little because I know you have it.
Okay, I'm piping up. You
What-
might hear some airplanes overhead. I live near the airport.
All right. Thank you for just piping up a little more there.
Sure.
Really looking forward to us having this great conversation.
Me too.
Good. Everyone, Stacy's chapter is the 4th one in this book, and it's titled Why Your Headshot May Be a Turnoff and How to Turn It On. I want to say again, but maybe it was never on in the first place.
That was great.
I always want to say again at the end of that chapter title. So Stacy, you covered a lot of ground in your chapter. While at the same time, I know, and you know, that you only scratched the surface of all the challenges that business owners have when it comes to their branding and even headshots. And I imagine that because you are the expert, a lot of people come to you and they say, hey, if I want to know more about this, where should I go to learn more besides your website?
Right.
And the book and our podcast and our app and all that wonderful stuff, which we'll talk about at the end of this conversation. So are you ready to share a few resources with us?
Yes, I am. And, really, I want to start with one of the first books I read that led me on the path to discovering the whole idea of branding and understanding the importance of it.
Okay.
And really understanding, like, why are you in business?
Oh, okay, cool. So you're going to lay it on us, aren't you?
It's heavy.
All right. Good thing I went to the gym this morning.
So the book is called Start with Why by Simon Sinek. And the book is, if you don't know why you do what you do, it's really hard for you to express your passion and your beliefs and share it with others.
Right.
So, you know what you do. Yeah, I'm a headshot photographer. I know how I do what I do. I know how I do it, right? I know how I use my lights. I know how I set up my background. I know how I work with my customer. But then why do I do what I do?
Right. Okay. So why do you do what you do? What did you learn?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, and I actually had to go way back to childhood, which just sounds kind of crazy, but all of the experiences you have in your life, all of the things you learn and everything that happens to you really shape who you become, right?
Right.
And so, growing up as a child, I lived in a creative household. I saw a lot of pictures. My mom had magazines laying around. I saw images of beautiful, tall, skinny women. I wanted to emulate that. I became a hairstylist later in life. I did makeup and hair. And then all of a sudden I got into photography. And what I realized through doing all those things is that I love making people feel confident about what they look like.
Ah, that's your why.
Yeah. But I
Ah,
didn't really know that before until I delved back into, the story of my life. And there's much more detail than that, but that's kind of like the basics of it.
okay. Well, that makes sense because here you are, a photographer. You could have been a hairstylist as well, and you
Well, I
figured
did.
out,
I was for 10 years.
right, but your why could be the same why, just in a different application, hairstylist versus photographer.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. It just matters that you figured out what your why is now with you as a photographer. But I imagine that hairstylist background lends to your expertise while you're working on headshots as well, doesn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, very much so. Very
Okay.
much so. Yeah, having that background helps me do headshots much better. I'm much more detail oriented with all of those the hair, the makeup, every little detail. It helps me become more detail oriented with that. Um, and there was something I wanted to add to that, and I lost my thought for a moment. But like you said, you could choose to do anything with a certain passion. And so, yes, I want people to look good. I want people to feel confident and comfortable about how they put themselves out there, but I want them to succeed in their business. And I think that element helps them.
I agree. I completely agree with that. So it was powerful for you, and because you took the time to slow down and chase your why back to where the roots of it were, and then you could connect that to what you do for a
Right.
living. That's where it all came together for you.
Yeah. And it's funny how you don't really know that. Like, you don't always know, like, why am I doing this?
Well, sure,
Um,
because it's who we are.
right.
And that self exploration discovery process is not common, and it takes time. And
It does. It took a while because I think I read that book like 3 or 4 years ago. And I think it really didn't take place or shape for me till a couple years later, and then, getting to the heart of your passion helps you figure out how to use your messaging to tell other people about what you do in a way that, is passionate and people can believe in it and go, yeah, I know I need a new headshot. I know it's going to help me.
right. Well, and that's just it. Until you understand what you're trying to project out there, you don't know how to message correctly
Right,
to attract who you want to attract.
right.
And I think you have shared with me that there's a book called Brand Aid, and it's like talks about that, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people are like, what is a brand? And this book is a really very good explanation of what branding is. And I'm going to use a quote from Jeff Bezos. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, but your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And, the book says, it's what people think about you, right?
Yes.
You walk out of the room and someone says, that Maggie, she's fun and funny and she's very smart and she's personable. And, you know, um, so that's what your brand is. It's how you present yourself in person. It's how you present yourself online.
Right.
So in the book states, personal branding is about showing the world your authentic self, your best self, but with clarity and purpose. And I think that's what's really important when you are creating a brand, is that you understand what you're trying to do. It's clear to you what you're trying to do, and you do it with purpose.
Okay, I'm pausing and everybody can't hear me being not perplexed, but just pondering that for a moment. So can we break up that definition again, or that statement?
You want me to say it again?
Yes, please.
Personal branding is about showing the world your authentic self, your best self. Because you don't really want to show the self that's mad at your kid, right? Something that takes you off or whatever. But you want to be clear about how you present yourself so that other people understand who you are, and you want to do it purposefully.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah, and that's, I got that's from the book, so I cannot take credit for that.
Well, we wouldn't want you to. It's not yours, baby.
But what I want to do is I'd like to read a couple of short paragraphs from the book, because I found them very intriguing. So Patrick, one of the authors, put together a PowerPoint presentation with 16 different images of people. And the images had people in different types of dress with different facial expressions and behaving differently. One woman was attempting to handle a very disorganized stack of paper while juggling her purse. So they were doing a presentation. So they gave the class 8 seconds per picture to decide the following and score each person on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being high. Would you purchase something from this person? Do you trust this person? Would you consider them a potential trusted advisor? Or do you think you'd like this person? And they found the results to be very interesting. All of the class people picked the same 3 people as the top scored people based on dress, posture, fitness level, and modern styles. What I found to be more interesting was that not one person in the class said, I can't make these decisions in 8 seconds or less. So everybody made a snap decision on the image they saw and had a judgment almost immediately within a few seconds. So that just shows you how important the way you look is, whether it's in person or online. But in line, of course, it's more important, because in person you can talk and, you can build rapport and stuff, and you don't have the same kind of, you're there in person. So you can do more things to make someone maybe like you if they didn't like what they saw initially.
Right. Okay. So that's fascinating, because they came back to the same 3 and they did it very quickly.
Right.
Okay. So it was according to what was it? One was modern. What they were wearing was modern.
Yeah. Let's see. So it was based on what they were dressed like, their posture, their fitness level, and the style, like the modern style of what they were wearing.
Okay.
So they must have asked him they asked him these series of questions. And that's what they found.
Well, that's some great tips for all of us.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Uh-huh.
Well, and, and the thing is that we just do this naturally. And of course, it's based on our culture and, a lot. But the funny thing, we live in the same culture. We're all mostly exposed to the same things. So, we have similar things affect how we think and how we believe when we see something.
Yes, perception.
Perception, yeah.
That's a great deal of what this is. Perception rules, right?
Yeah. And so what I wanted to share with the listeners is that, before someone works with you, typically they're going to Google you.
Okay.
And in this book, they said that people spend an average of about 4 minutes reading information they can find out about you.
Oh,
So think about that. If they don't find the right information right away at the top of Google and they're reading whatever, maybe not the best information about you, that's where that gets into SEO ranking and, how do you get the best stuff like your website or your LinkedIn profile up at the top of the Google search. So they give you 7 tips to a great brand. And the first tip is write down what you believe people think about you today. And asking others is a good way to find out about what people think of you. So to kind of establish kind of where you're at today with your brand, what people think about you now. And then to think about your future and what are your goals and dreams and how do you want your life and your business to be, right?
okay.
Think about your future. What do you want people to think about you? And kind of where do you want to be? And then the third thing is do a gap analysis. What's the difference between where you are today and where you want to be in the future? So you have to get clarity from that gap analysis to, what needs to be changed to get from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow.
Sure, because for some people there would be potentially a small gap, and for others it could be quantum.
Right. And there's always going to be, you're always going to learn and grow, and that's going to evolve. So your brand is constantly going to be evolving to change with what your ideas are for where you want to go with your goals and your vision and your dreams for your life.
Well,
And
that makes, I want to pause for a moment because I think a lot of people think with their messaging, their brand, and whatever we're calling it, impressions, perception, um, that a lot of people think it's a one and done.
right,
And when you take a look at even a company like, oh, I don't know, Pepsi has gone through several rounds. Coca-Cola has gone through several rounds, but Pepsi, it talks about being in a different generation. This is, this isn't your mom and dad's generation. It's the same drink, but they're marketing it totally differently.
right. Because you have to change with the times. And hopefully you're growing and learning yourself, so you will be changing with the times.
Right, right. And so thank you for letting me pause you for a moment. So what else do you have?
So then the idea, after you do your gap analysis is to develop action items so that you can begin to build that brand. And you may need to eliminate things that you no longer think are part of, who you are and who you want to be.
Okay, that makes sense. Stay
And this is where
contemporary.
it gets into, being your best self. One of the things that I found most interesting about this book is that he talked about, we're all so out there in the world now on Facebook and all these social media places, and people see us and, they see us in pictures and people talk about us. And it really forces you to think about being a better person. And I thought,
Uh,
that's kind of cool. We're more transparent now, right? Like we know more about our government because of the internet. We know more about other people because of the internet. We know more about companies because of the internet. We know more about news. I mean, so
good or bad, we know more.
we know it, and it's kind of cool if you
Mm-hmm.
think about how, yes, it should make the world a better place because we all should be better people. And part of me thought, wow, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, then number 5 is identifying where and how you will project your brand.
Okay.
Identifying like what it is that you want people to know about you, like your style, your voice and your messaging, your social media impressions, and where are you gonna put all this stuff? Are you gonna be on Facebook? Are you gonna be on LinkedIn? Are you are you gonna go to networking events? Where are you gonna show yourself? Where are you
Okay.
gonna show up? Where are you gonna show up?
Good.
Those are your words, Maggie. Where are you gonna show up?
Are you gonna show up? Yep.
And then list what you must do to protect your brand, which is something really that you need to think about, because people could say bad things about you and write bad reviews about you. Um, and you could be, having 3 beers and go on Facebook and be mad about something or in an argument with somebody and put something stupid up there, which a lot of people do.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. So how are you going to protect your brand and identify ways that your brand could be damaged, and put rules and systems into place to protect your brand? And what they say next is rinse and repeat every 6 months, review what you're doing, make sure you're on track, and make sure your brand is evolving as you are.
I love that. Make sure your brand is evolving as you are. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I notice it with myself, because I see what I posted a year ago and what I post today. And it's a constant changing evolution.
Right.
And I often have ideas I might have ideas from 2 years ago that I finally start to piece together and post, for like
Yes.
my marketing material and stuff like that. I have ideas, but I haven't had time to put them fully together or fully make them happen to get them posted. So
Isn't that cool when you find old stuff that you wrote or created from years ago, and it's like, oh, it's more applicable today, and then you put it into the mix. So I love activating stuff like that.
yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, the whole point is judgment's made in a few seconds. People are going to Google you before they do business with you. What are they going to find? And, you should really be in control of what they find. Your face and your name, meaning your headshot and your name, like if your name is Mary Jane Baluba, make sure it's Mary Jane Baluba everywhere, not Mary Jane or Mary Baluba or whatever. Make sure it's the same everywhere you go. And every social media impression you make will give people an impression about you. So make sure it's things that you want people to know about you.
Well, that's great, and it's fascinating. And I know that you have one more resource. We only have time for one more resource.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
it.
I know. We're going to have to keep it short. But
Okay.
I
This is a
know
good one.
that this is the one another one you want to share.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so bring it on.
there's a book called Fascinate, How to Make Your Brand Impossible to Resist by Sally Hogshead. So Fascinate, the power of remembrance. Can you hold someone's attention long enough to fascinate or captivate someone so they are almost powerless to resist? This is a great book. It's one of my favorite books, packed with information, a lot of psychological stuff too. And a couple things that she said that really stood out in my head are, you can't stand out if you're trying to blend in.
I love that. Boy, if you just never said another word, that would serve everyone well. Like, okay, I know you got another one.
Well, and different is king.
Yes.
I always like that, because I always like to say cash is king, but she says different is king, and so that works for me. So and she said, if you fail to attract people with your with whatever you're doing online or whatever you're doing in person, you lose. And it's that simple. You have to utilize your brand, yourself, to attract the right people to you. So when people are fascinated by you, they focus on you and your message. They are more likely to believe in you, buy from you, and talk about you to others.
I would agree with that.
So the cool thing about fascination is when you do it well, people are more likely to buy your products, your services, and pay you more money. How cool is that?
Ta-da. Well, that's what it's all about when you're in business. I
So
don't
now,
imagine there is one small business owner right now listening saying, no.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
So now you're going to say, how do you go about fascinating people? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
I just give you my three quick steps.
Okay.
They're not quick. The first step is to understand your personality and your strengths, your why.
Got it.
Figure out how to create and customize your message and visuals.
Okay.
Decide which tools and tactics you will use to get your message out.
When you say tools and tactics, I think I know what that is, but let's make sure everybody knows what that means.
Um, Tools meaning, what social media platforms might you use? Um, uh, why am I not thinking about tactics? The I'm thinking tools and tactics, they're kind of the same in a way, but um, I'm not going to explain this well.
That's okay. That's okay.
My brain is not on tactics right now.
So tools, I get that, different ways. Maybe tactics could be like how you're communicating with them,
Yeah,
your
there's a lot.
format.
I think there's a lot to that, and the Fascinate book gets way into all of that stuff, which is really cool.
And you said there's a lot of psychology in that book as well, right?
There is, and that stuff is really interesting as well. She talks about that quite a bit at the beginning of the book. But then get this, she has a personality test that you can take.
Oh,
All you got to do is go to www.howtofascinate.com.
howtofascinate.com.
Yes. And then you can find out about your strengths and your weaknesses. You find out what your primary advantage is. She calls it advantages, your strengths, and your secondary advantage, and then what your dormant advantages are, and then how you can use your advantages to your advantage, so that you can show the world who you are in a way that's dynamic and fascinating and attracts people to you.
Okay, so this is a really great resource for everyone who's listening. Howtofascinate.com, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I hope everybody wrote that down one more time. Howtofascinate.com.
Yay.
Okay, Stacy, I wish we had more time.
I have more stuff to share.
I bet
But
you
that's
do.
cool. We'll do it again.
Yeah, and we will. We'll have more opportunities to chat, so no problem there. But for now, I think we probably have quite a bit to digest and start moving into action. Wouldn't you say?
Yep. Agreed.
Okay, cool. Well, listeners, I want to share with you how you can learn more and engage with Stacy, our #1 best-selling author. Start by reading chapter 4 in the book, Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner, and gift your business's performance by accepting the invitation that Stacy is offering you on her author page at the end of her chapter. Plus, she has all sorts of really cool social media site handles for you to connect with her and start engaging with her on a regular basis. I think she might even let you have some fun with her. What would you think? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Also, there's something else that's really cool that I shared earlier, which is right now you can see everything about the book and how to get a hold of the book, and even Stacy by going to our app for the book. And the app is Brilliant Biz Book. Again, that's Brilliant Biz, B-I-Z, book. And when you go there, download it on your app store, go there, and you have an option that says click and ask an expert. And you can see Stacy Kaat's name there. Go ahead, and if you have a question for her, click on her name, type out your answer. I wish it was voice activated, but it's not, apparently. So type out your answer and let her know how she can get a hold of you, and she will reply back to you. How do you like that for a bonus?
Woohoo.
Yeah, so Stacy's going to play that way, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So Stacy, I want to thank you for your time and your wisdom sharing today. You rock.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Maggie. It's always fun.
It is fun, and there's always so much to share that we never get to it because, you're the expert. You could go on for days with
I
this
could
stuff.
go on for days.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So listeners, we would appreciate you to go ahead and take some action that Stacy shared with you today. You know how to get a hold of the book, engage with us on that app. because also the podcast that you're listening to right now is on the app as well. It's a one-stop shop. You can find out how to get a hold of all the authors, everything, and have a blast. So, we're so glad that you're learning how to create more brilliant breakthroughs for your small business, because after all, that's what it's all about, right?
Yep.
Okay, so until next week, everybody be rock stars and shine brightly.